Question number 8, the Honourable David Parker.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. My question is to the Minister of Finance. What is the total amount of dividends that the government has taken out of Transpower since 2011, and what is the current debt gearing ratio of Transpower?
Honourable Bill English.
Mr Speaker, dividends paid since 2011 total $610 million. The debt gearing ratio is 70%.
Supplementary.
Supplementary question, Honourable David Parker.
Did he write to the chair of Transpower in 2008 and 2009 demanding that the company increase its debt so as to pay out larger dividends?
Honourable Bill English.
Mr Speaker, I would have to go back and check the records, but it's likely that that's the case.
Supplementary question, Jami-Lee Ross.
How much has Transpower invested in the national grid since 2008, and why has it made this investment?
The Honourable Bill English.
Well, actually, Mr Speaker, I agree with the interjection. Under a program initiated by the previous Labor government and its last competent minister, Trevor Mallard, Transpower invested over 10 years, from 2008 to 2018, their investment will total $5 billion. This represented, at the start of the program and does still now, a much-needed and overdue investment in transmission assets. It has increased reliability, particularly in the upper North Island, and enabled growing demand in Auckland to be met from mainly renewable generation south of Auckland. These investments are being made under the independent oversight of the Commerce Commission, which requires investments to be made only in the long-term interests of consumers. While the cost of this investment passes to consumers, so do the benefits in terms of an improved network, fewer blackouts and greater competition between generators and more use of renewable energy.
Supplementary.
Supplementary question, Honourable David Parker.
Did he receive a letter from the chair of Transpower dated 19 February 2010 that stated, and I quote, "A target gearing ratio of 40 to 60% was appropriate for a business of our type and consistent with our peer group, and quotes, to go above this range would be imprudent"?
Honourable Bill English.
Mr Speaker, I don't recall the letter, but the member can be, I think, assured that the government would have taken the best commercial advice available in setting the levels of debt applicable to Transpower.
Point of order, Honourable David Parker.
I seek leave to table the letter of 19 February 2010 from Transpower to the Honourable Bill English, which says that to go above the range would be imprudent.
It's been well enough described. Leave us sought to table that particular letter dated 19 February 2010. Is there any objection? There is none. It can be
Supplementary.
tabled. Supplementary question, Jami-Lee Ross.
What is the process for setting Transpower prices?
Honourable Bill English.
Mr Speaker, Transpower is now independently regulated by the Commerce Commission, who set the prices Transpower can charge, and they do so under the Commerce Act. The Commerce Commission's price-setting process does not refer to Transpower's dividends or debt. That is, it doesn't matter what Transpower's level of dividends or debt are. The Commerce Commission apply their own criteria regardless. So the dividends paid by Transpower do not change the prices charged by Transpower. The Commerce Commission also determines whether investments over $50 million are in the long-term interests of consumers. Overall, consumers are facing increases on an average of 2.6% in their electricity bills to pay for Transpower and Lines Company investment to improve the network.
Supplementary.
Supplementary question, Honourable David Parker.
Is he aware that after the government forced Transpower to borrow more money to pay higher dividends, taking them over the debt gearing ratio that the chair had warned was imprudent, Moody's downgraded Transpower's credit rating, saying, quotes, it was because, quotes, the company's willingness to weaken credit metrics in favour of shareholder distributions?
Honourable Bill English.
Well, Mr Speaker, I am aware that that occurred. Shareholders have the rights of owners, That is the point, I would have thought, of the government owning Transpower, is that it can set those policies. We don't rely entirely on ratings, on what the chairman or the rating agency thinks. Those, of course, are taken into account along with other advice and also the needs of the shareholder.
Supplementary.
Supplementary question, Honourable David Parker.
Has the effect of increased indebtedness and interest bills been to increase Transpower's costs?
Honourable Bill English.
Well, Mr. Speaker, that is arguable. I mean, the fact. Well, it can be argued because if they had less debt, they'd have to pay higher. They'd pay less dividends and higher interest. Exactly a point that opposition parties have made, arguing against the sale of the other electricity generators. So it's not obvious exactly what impact it would have. What the member needs to be clear about is the Commerce Commission does not take account of those issues or Transpower costs in determining prices. The prices are set independently by the Commerce Commission.
Question number 9, Joanne Hayes.
Tēnā koe, Mr. Speaker. My question is to the Minister of Justice. What recent report